Manhood, brought you in part by Reboot, Superfarm, and Solomon's Bespoke.
Thanks for joining us yet again on Manhood, where we always aim to be better as brothers. And like I always say, we're not trying to speak on behalf of all men. We are speaking to all men. And I see your Hansi has a smile on his face, because it's about time. I think we're past 60 episodes now, and we really are speaking to all men. And in many cases, we're speaking on behalf of all men, because I think we have it down pat, as they say by now. Today's topic is another big one: age and adversity. And you know, they say adversity is the greatest teacher. Now, there's a saying, the greatest glory is not, and I knew I'd forget, but I'll remember during the course of the show, but I small thing.
Yeah, do you remember? What is the greatest glory you go find?
So the great, here we are. The greatest glory is not in never falling, it is rising when we fall. And that's Nelson Mandela. So adversity, age and adversity. So to my right, Johan IODK, behavior change consultant. To his right, the one, the only, really, really happy to have him, David Rudder.
Pleased to be here.
And to his right, Niall McNish, Vibes God.
Hey.
Provocateur, as they say.
I like
so
that.
Gents, we're talking age and adversity. And today is going to be a bit different in the way that we normally process and how we normally ventilate and unfold this show, because it's really going to be through a chronicling of a timeline, so to speak, of David Rudder's music. Big tunes. Jungle Fever, I was about 6 when that came out. Calypso music, Haiti, Rally Round the West Indies, Bahia Girl, so many to mention. But what do we understand by age and adversity?
Well, first I'll start with age, right? I mean, we could look at the dictionary. I mean, age is something you could count in terms of the years of your life.
Right.
But I look at age more as a collection of experiences.
All right.
Right? So depending on your age, you have more experiences. So I'll start there. Age is a collection of experiences.
So someone could be young and have a lot of experience based on what they went through.
Yeah. And even that would be young could be a judgment, because at 2 years old, somebody could have gone through more than somebody else at 5 years old.
Fair enough.
Right? So it's really a collection of experiences.
So when we have, having someone like David Rudder on the show, when we talk about age and adversity, we're talking more specific through, like I said, a timeline. So what would you have seen of men and boys back then, and especially when you were composing the lyrics of a lot of these tunes, and now, and not only the transcending of time, but also the adversity that you would have gone through then, and also even what you're experiencing now.
It's funny you started with that quote from Mandela, because when I go to talk to youths, I always tell them the advantage is you guys could get up. If you fall, you could just move on. When you're at my point in my age, you could fall. You're not so sure you're going to.
Not sure you're going to get back up.
Get back up, So it was like recently, for the first time, I did a show in Carnival, and I actually fell on stage, but I got back up, and the show was great, But that was like my life in 7 minutes, And I always try to get that message out there. I always tell people, it took me 21 years to become an overnight success. So in 1986, when the whole Rudder Mania thing happened in Trinidad, that was my 21st year in the business.
Serious?
Oh, okay.
And I was when I was 1 year old, I was already walking about the thing already. This guy could walk already. Suddenly, within the next month, I couldn't walk again. It turns out that I had polio, developed polio. So I lived in the hospital for a couple of months, and as a child, a hospital baby, So I had that. I grew up with that. Maybe because it was so early in my life, I didn't see the pitfalls or anything that it could happen to me because of what I'm going through. But excuse me. But I didn't know I just saw that as something natural that I should do. I always knew I wanted to be in music. So I was focused on that. And my physical illness didn't even figure anything, because it was like, it's there. It happened when I was 1 year old. I always tell people now, after this long journey through life, and picking up Parkinson's now, I say, anybody with pleurisy, keep away from me, because that will be triple P.
Yeah,
You know?
right. So you see, as David Rudd is saying, and we just said, Niall, at 1 year old, he had a lot of experience already, age, right? And experience is something I realized that shapes everyone. We know everybody have different experiences. And at times, because they didn't have our experience, sometimes we cannot fathom or sometimes even empathize. But I agree that we should listen. And that's why, having elders around, and I don't like saying old people, right? Having elders, because if I'm 5 years old, somebody 10 and 15 is still an elder.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Well, they're older. Elder in the terminology is something, an elder meaning someone who's been around for X amount of years.
But
Depends
yes,
on
older.
Right.
But as older, they have different experiences.
Yeah, wisdom.
They have more experiences. And it's not even to negate yours, but even listen, and you may even learn something. So I'm really glad that we have an elder here to teach us something.
A legend. When you hear that word bandied about, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Is this something that you readily accept?
Well, I don't have no choice. Even if, I think it's just people's way of saying, listen, we like what you've done for the country, or what you're still doing, and our life is much richer now because of something you said. Because many times I meet people and they say, your song put me out of a really serious injury, and many times it would be simple as I hate going to the dentist. But when I have on your some music on my headphone, I'm all right. So it could be something very simple, but it could be also very, very profound too. And what I've learned over the years is that most people don't want you to tell them what to do. They want you to listen. Thanks for listening.
It's really a sounding board.
Yeah.
You mentioned something about when, in the acceptance of the word legend, that's someone's way of saying thanks for what you've given to the nation. In all your earlier years, were you aware of the profound impact that you were having through the lyrics, or was it just maybe at that point a rant, a way of, because back then the calypso, as we knew it in its purest form, would really be about a message,
right,
talking about what was happening in the country or the state or the world. Were you aware of the impact that some of those songs they would have like now?
I felt that they would at some point in time, because I'm a lover of history, and once you know the essence of history, what has passed before and what is going to pass again, because you didn't listen the first time.
Oof.
So I always had that bent. I love history. That's why you would hear Rally on West Indies, I would talk about Toussaint and Dessalines, which is the Haitian Revolution within a cricket match, because my whole vision of the Caribbean is that we all made this journey on the same trip, on the same ship, and we have different ways of dealing with it. So I always felt that if I get enough people to say, we like that, it means that you get a something, you get an understanding of how many people in the society felt like that. When you're doing a poll, you interview 100 people, and that 100 people tell you what the country is saying. You don't need to ask your entire country. So that's how I see my song as a sounding board. And when people react to it, then I know this is what, I'm on the right course.
And it's the pulse of the nation at that point. So something like Rally Around the West Indies, the lyrics that you'd put into the song, and the messaging at that point. I mean, it's like fine wine. It just ages AJ as well.
It's still relevant.
Still relevant. And as you said, it took you 21 years to be an overnight success?
Yeah.
So these songs, do you feel that now, in the last 10 years, David Rudder is at his more the King David Rudder than back then when the songs initially came out? Do you think it was received as it was meant to be back then?
Yes, I think so. I think when I performed the songs in the early days, you always have people talking about this music. That's what they say, like carnival, and like a box of chicken and chips. Eat it and you throw it away. And and my songs always took a little time to come up to the surface. People say, I know something like your tune, that beautiful negative trail that they show him the feelings for you.
Fashionably unimpressed, we coined it as.
Yeah, First, I'm going to lie. I find that tune wasn't good at all. But now, it gets into me. So you're doing good. Because it's not about...
Truly, sir.
So you kind of know, if 20 years from now, they're still saying the same thing, it means that there's created some kind of impact on that person, And it might be a different impact this time. Because they know what it is now, they might see something else inside of the song that even I mightn't see,
You're correct about that because you said you're a lover of history.
Yeah.
Right? Tell me a little bit about that now. Why? Why you love history?
I don't know. It was just something when they started teachers talk about the Middle Passage and how Columbus and the Gama and all these people and the Haitian Revolution, the Cuban Revolution. Where we are in all these little islands, how are we going to survive the overpowering presence of superpowers around us? And, we were just like little pawns. And, I always felt we're not small. We're small, little keys can open mighty doors, And we prove it in sport, because sport is different from art. Art is very subjective. So somebody might see something and say, this thing is a brilliant thing, and next person say, we didn't see nothing in that. But if a man hits 400 and runs not out, and a man runs 9.58, they had to see that, because that
undeniable
shows that even though we're small, as a people, we have something that, that our spirit kind of embodies that nobody else can embody like us.
So small axes cut big tree.
We lick about Talawa.
And, every bread has its cheese. So whereas I absolutely hated history, here it is, you loved history, and then you were able to take that history and put it into something that is palatable for a lot of persons. I mean, of all ages, and that's what we're talking about, age and adversity. Mm-hmm. And you would have been there, like I said, coming out for the most part when we really knew who David Rudder was, would be 1981. Right. I wasn't even born yet at that point.
Neither was I.
Just messing. I just threw it out there. But Jungle Fever. So let's that when that song came out, I really want to get to that timeline of how you saw Trinidad and Tobago and how it was for men, and how do you see it if we go through the music and the, like I said, calypso music, Haiti, all of these songs. How do you see Trinidad then, men, and their behaviors, and now? Do you look back and even now and go, wow, I'm just really so disappointed, or are you
do you understand the temperature?
I tried not to cuss, you see, that's what it really was. Are you hopeful?
I'm hopeful because in the sense that if I talk to 1,000 students and 5 get the message, that gives me a hope, and because they could go out and mostly the ones who come through positively, and the ones who will actually go and make a change in society. You know, that's the one who will say, like I remember doing a conference with some young people we was going through Trinidad, we went to Tobago, we went to Queen's Hall, back to Trinidad, and a young man told a story about going to school with his mother, and the gunmen came and shoot his mother and leave him stand up there. And he said, so they killed his brother before. He said, no, I'm talking to you calm and cool here. But look what I passed through. So when I see somebody get shot, that's like nothing to me. You know? Multiply that by, you know, and he said to the panel, let me ask a question. How many of you know your mother and father? Everybody had. He said, he told the audience and students, how many of you all here know your mother and father, live with your mother and father? A sprinkling of people just, you know? He says, see, that's just a little time pod right there. Keep this and know the kind of work that has to be done. And there's a energy in Trinidad that's not down in the belly of the country, society itself, that I think we try to ignore it. You know, we talk about abuse and, you know, all these stories you hear only when some tragedy comes out of it. But there's a whole lot of under the surface that we're not dealing with it, and it will come back and bite us. It's biting us all the time, you know. Molestation and a kind of a rage, a rage, you know. And an emptiness, because there's some people just, you know, like you wonder how you can so, and then you look back at the society, and there's certain patterns you see where this person come from this kind of home. This is a candidate for, you know, this we can't do nothing with this one. We can do something with this one. So it's a frightening thing down in the belly there, you know. It's scary, but the positive thing is that the stronger ones come out and
out of adversity. So we're gonna take a break, and when we come back, I'd really like us to go probably through decade, if you could recall, to kind of show the transition. Maybe there were hills and troughs, there were moments of reprieve, and as you said, you know, the full cycle, because as we always hear, when there's a rich person, rich people, or persons who give the offspring everything, turn out to be weak people, and then the weak people then create strong people out of a certain level of or need for survivability. So we take a short break. When we come back, we're talking about age and adversity, the one and only David Rudder.
This is Manhood, and we're talking about age and adversity.
Indeed. I have a quick question for you, Mr. Rudder. Were there any lyrics that you felt that was generally misinterpreted by Trinidad or the audience at large?
Most of the songs start that way, and then they say, oh, that's what you're saying, you know. So you find there are people who catch it immediately, but most people kind of they kind of have to take time to get or listen to someone who was talking about the song and say, oh, is that what they say, you know? Maybe I should pay more attention next time, but it always happens.
So it's not a double entendre. It was something specific you meant, and there was not another meaning to that, just that the nation ran with that. Like for me, for years, where the man with the hammer gone? I didn't get it until I was singing. It meant you know, horses, you know, everything is subjective. Yeah. And a lot of that music meant something to me and took me through a period. And then when you hear the other meaning, I'm not lost by it, but you kind of chuckle and you go, okay.
So
wait, just now, wait what it mean first.
Yeah, that's a whole other conversation.
But that are we here, though. This is Manhood, but anyway.
But what I would say, so for example, myself and Sparrow got really close, and a lot of times with the music, like when you'd sing 10 to 1 is Murder or Gina and Dinah, what I found with Slinger is that the music then was reality that happened to him, and whether or not the nation was ready for that reality that got him to write the particular song is something totally different. But as the years went on, it started to mean more or different even to him about the particulars of the song. So if you speak to him like now that he's born again and all the rest of it, there's a whole other discussion around that same said music. So I just think not only is it an age thing or timeline thing, like fine wine, I said, it could also be subjective at the time. But I like your question to find out, like, what's the real, what's it?
The double meaning in some songs are obvious. There are some things you write and you're really shocked to know that somebody hearing that. It was so far away from my mind. I remember when I did Whole CX. I just come out of the studio and I went to get something to eat in the restaurant that was closing. And I said, well, since all they kind of hold on for me, I dropped all the down to pick up all the transport, 3 of them came in the car. So they say, you have any new music? I said, I just come from the studio. And I put on the Whole CX. That was the, right? And this is a case about the Sugar Bell Queen. If you breathe too hard in the Central Yard, she's going to be on the scene. And the 3 of them bust out a laugh. So I said, what do I find so funny? She said, but if a man comes to breathe in my Central Yard, I will be always on the scene, And I said, like, what?
Where the mind going?
But they all thought the same thing. Mm-hmm. So, and that was so far away from my mind that you never know how people will
perceive it.
I remember a madman used to come up every night by the Spectacular Tent. And one day I didn't sing the song. It was a song called Bigger Pimpin'. Mm-hmm. Bigger Pimpin' in TNT. He said, I said, what? He said, what song? I said, every day you come here. He said, I come in here, you sing this song tonight. Bigger buildings in TNT, But he said, I really noticed that since the other day when this money, this oil money, don't you put him outside a building and he pays the building, the government office and big buildings all over, and he kind of ranting on the buildings, So, but somehow it affected him. He just feel kind of calm when he come and I sing about it too. There's too much damn big buildings in Trinidad.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and I see.
So from every aspect of society, from the high to the low, you find people telling you what this song is about, and you say, okay, if that's what you interpreted it to be, then that's what it is to you. That's,
So apart from the history of a lot of these songs, and as you said, it's subject to interpretation, but there was still a meaning or place you were in your life when you say that in certain parts of the music that because you said, of course, when you were 1 and you had polio, and at that point it wasn't something that you would have fully comprehended at the time. Right. You just knew that you liked music and this was something that was happening, and you had to move on from it. So that in itself is adversity. And age and adversity comes into there because you're at a young age. When you were singing, for example, Madman's Rant, or even Rally Round the West Indies. So Madman's Rant spoke a lot about the political situation. And Rally Round the West Indies would have come from a position of, I'm assuming we weren't rallying around the West Indies at that point, and you were singing to sort of garner,
get us
there to
positivity. We started to lose, and we were not accustomed to that. That's why today we still have that banker. We still we who come from that age where
fire in Babylon.
Yeah, that's what we knew, and to see the struggle now, which is a kind of a metaphor for across Caribbean, what's happening across Caribbean society, the music, the thought process, and everything is different from that time. What we need to know is that we have to kind of find a new motivation, move on from there. It won't be the same motivation that Richards and the Garners and Holdings and Ambrose and they it's a whole different thing, Lara.
Yeah.
It's a whole totally different mindset that you have to deal with now, and a different way to maximize the power of that time and how they think, how they see things.
But was when you were writing it and singing the songs, take me into the headspace. Were you writing it from anger at the fact that, say, for example, Man Band's rant of the state of Trinidad and Tobago and rally around the West Indies from a position of why the hell are they support the team or move on? Were you from a position of being in a dark spot, a position of anger, or was it just?
It was just I don't think it's anger or dark spot. I think it's just I felt like I have to say something but it's not about being angry. It's more about
when good men do nothing.
When good men do nothing, So I said to myself, I have to do this. All I can do is suggest. You suggest things, and people say yes or no, because people hear songs of say we could I sing Calypso is the music that could bring governments down, and they can't bring no government down. What you can do is just suggest that things ain't really right.
Right.
And then see people take that from there and make it their own,
What do you suggest that we because this is manhood and this is men we're talking to, what do you suggest in this time we as men, I mean this is a general question, but what do you suggest we as men should be doing now based on the time we're in, the political climate, the state of the country, the state of families, the state of the education system, etc. What do you think suggest we as men should be doing?
I think I said it earlier. Start by listening, because we don't really listen. It's I talk. I see big. It's what Superman. It's super toy, and that's a song I wrote called the Baby Mother. Superman is a super toy. At the belly started going around like a little boy, So it's like, take time out. Don't say but I did say that. I learned to say this. Just listen, and say okay. That's what bothering you. What we gonna do? What can I do to help it? If you're not sure what you can do, speak directly to the person and say, what will make you all right, or at least start to be all right, okay.
That is true. Instead of assuming you think listen.
Well, there's this interview technique. One of the fundamentals. They say talk and repeat yourself, listen and learn something. So the more you listen to someone, is the more, of course, the nuggets that we always try to bring about from manhood come about. But if you had to sing a song or write lyrics in this day and age, from men and boys and behaviors, because we heard a bit of it, we heard some snippets of your outlook on it now. What would that look like? Again, would you be from a position of being hopeful? This is our rock. We have nowhere else to go, really. I mean, wherever we go, we're still Trinbagonians. We can't just up and leave. What would something like that sound like?
I think the problem we have is that we're producing weak young men, and once that happens, it's a very difficult situation to get out to. That's why I'm saying that, to the young people, the young men, listen and act on the listening, say, stop, don't let them go ahead and do something where, it creates a negative situation. Say, no, this is not right. Do it this way. Somehow, like I said, all these trips I made throughout the country over the years, people come out later years and say, You know that what they said that year when he came in school, it stick with me, you know. Up to now, I tell my wife that, you know, it may be. And, you know, there's one situation where I met a young man and he said, when you get married, I better get married too, you know. Because you get married. I say, wow, all right. You know? And I meet hundreds of that kind of thing across the place. So there is an element of that sleeping power there. But we still too much in the, you see what you make me do? Because it's not my fault, it's you make me do that.
Victim mentality.
Yeah, you see, that's only the judge said other words in English. You see what they make me do? That's still it's too prevalent, you know. And as a village, as a tongue, you see something going on, you say, nah, man, you're wrong. Your partner, you see a friend, as your friend, you're wrong. That way you do it was wrong. The same way you want, you were wrong, you know. And it will resonate at a certain point, you know. But it's a lot of hard work ahead. It's a hard road.
As you mentioned, a hard road ahead. Niall, I want you to come in because I know you have a lot that you need to know, and I just want to before we go into that, when you first realized, well, not even realized, when you had polio, that at that point you weren't aware of the magnitude of what was happening, because absence of that knowledge means you can't be in fear of it.
Right.
In your case, after that, now with Parkinson's, now with the lyrics that you've been doing all along in these songs that are now loved, but at the time you wouldn't have known that they were going to be loved. Can you take us through some of those moments of being, I'm sure, afraid? I'm assuming, or you just always knew that, okay, I'm saying this message, I'm going to say it, I'm not afraid of any sort of reprisal or repercussions. And then, of course, also finding out about Parkinson's and knowing that you'd have to limit what you love and what people love you for.
Right.
How did you overcome those levels of adversity? What are some of the...
Well, I was never afraid of anything. But right now, I'm still, Parkinson's, I'm still learning. It's a journey, you know. Sometimes there's a dark thing comes out, and then you kind of have to see the light. You study, why did this happen? I follow all the rules, and then you realize this rule number 5, is not good for you. So you kind of work things out. So what strengthens me, you know? I think that's the major thing. Where I've never been afraid, especially with art and things. I get excited, you know. I want to write a next song, you know. And sometimes there are moments throughout my life where you do a body of work, and the work itself is almost like a jumbie. Like the year when I did the Haiti album, and the November of that year, they kicked Baby Doc out of the Haiti, and he left. And so the whole nation was playing Haiti, I'm Sorry. And then in December, it was a very short carnival that year. In December, they started to play Panama. And all the steel bands went with Panama. And then just after that, for Carnival, they started playing Bacchanal Lady. Mm-hmm. And from that, when Carnival was over, I think England had saw the West Indies, I believe. And so West Indies became, Rally Round West Indies became the popular song.
Became an anthem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then in June, Phil Simmons got he listened to the engine room. He said, but this is a missing gem. So on one album, in a space of about 2.5 months, all these songs get played because events around it made them alive, instantly alive.
Serendipity.
And today, they still have that same power. Now, it doesn't happen all the time, But like this year, I did a song called "The Rising," and I'm saying, I think we turning a corner here. When I watch Panorama, I see 20,000 people in Panorama for the first time. I see that's the rising. That's the rising. I see a little dude from the ghetto come on stage and
Took my question.
right?
Yes.
I said, that's the rising right there. And he had a song called We Rise.
We Rise,
And the name of the theme for Carnival this year was We Rise, right? So I didn't know this before, because this was written for the post-pandemic. We had another incident that happened. And I said, you know what? We're not fighting this. Let's not fight this. Leave it. And it will come out when it's ready. And this was the time, you know. And so I said, everybody talking about we rise and rise, we rise and rise. So there's a communion that's going around the place that I picked up on. And that is the reason why it took 3 years to come to manifest now. Because I could put it out for the ending of the pandemic. But I felt there was more to it than that. And through that, I said, wow, rising, we rise. Everybody is rising. Nothing can compare to a Trini rising. So I say, if we all thinking about it, that's where the society heading. So slowly and surely, that's a positive step. You know, sometimes when I travel a lot and I come back home, I can tell where Trinidad is by the way people drive. You know, sometimes you might see by the time I land here, watch two people maneuver. They say that fella's an angry boy, you know, and then
Angry people. Yeah.
and then next time you come back, somebody say, go ahead, you go, you know. I say things turn a little bit, but you just kind of know the ups and downs of Trinidad society, you know, especially if you're away from it for a while and you come back every couple of months. You kind of see the ebb and flow, you know.
So I know Nile always says, you know, I am, you know, a metaphor banton. So it, you know, a lot in that case, you know, you can't see the picture from inside the frame,
Right.
or the trees from inside the forest. So in that case, taking a moment and being outside, having a perspective there, and then actually coming back to Trinidad and Tobago, a lot of times. I myself spent a lot of time outside of Trinidad, and coming back and we appreciate things more than when we're here.
Yeah.
That's
You
true.
know, and at that point, if I come back, I'd probably let somebody in. But being here on a regular, you're like, nah. Way indicator.
Mash gas.
Well, you
mash
see,
gas.
that's expressive of what Mr. Rudder was saying, because he was saying in society we hold back a lot of things, we suppress a lot of things, and he spoke about families and abuse and molestation and things like that. And if we generally as Trinidadians, and this is where even age and diversity come in, because the quote unquote, the older we get, or to say more age we add, if we keep holding back things, that means it's years of things we adding up. Right? And then if we add in those things to actually rise out of it and come out of the adversity would take a lot more. So being open to things, and I don't want to use expose, but versus see the truth of things, which is when we ask the advice, what should men do, right? See the truth of a situation and deal with it instead of putting it away, suppressing it, or ignoring it, would make the act of the adversity, or the adversity, it wouldn't be as big, because now you're not letting it build up over time. Because sometimes, you know, we say with age come reason, but not all the time, you know. Sometimes if you're holding things back, with age you get more angry.
True.
Dumber as well. So with that, what we have to do?
Gotta go to a break.
I go to a break.
Welcome back to Manhood. We are talking about age and adversity. Of course, here with the one and only, the legend, Mr. Rudder. I have a quick question. Times are changing very quickly, especially in our country, right? What is something in our culture that you don't want to change? You want to see like remain forever like that?
We have a thing called neighborhood watch, right? it was something that was naturally ingrained in society when I was growing up. You can't come into an area, you can't come in Boston and Belmont. Who is that? Who this? Where did they come from? Everybody, you see some two strange fellas, that was like normal. So people knew what they could do and what they couldn't do. They knew the boundaries. We had to actually form committees and put up signs to say neighborhood watch, which was just, we were all on FBI and CIA,
He's a Belmont boy now, that's why he's smiling. So from here to...
So it's kind of, I don't want to lose that, in the sense that you had to join a group to be part of this, or something had to happen. It's just if you're vigilant, naturally it's part of, it was like part of DNA. At the end of the day, that spirit runs across, where you could tell a neighbor, "Nah, you're wrong when you do that. You're wrong. I can't back you with that." The same way you could say, "I can't back you with that." They say, "Look at a strange person by your house. Watch them. They come beside the house. And so there's this observance of things around. Like there's a funny thing, because like in Canada, if something happens on the block, I will go up, and another friend of mine will go up and see what's going on. Because that's a natural West Indian thing. Is everything all right? I just hear like the alarm went off in the house, But most of the other people will be like peeping through their window. Or they didn't see
Marcometer.
But they not. I see how they went up there. There's no, But the people who will actually go out and say, "Everything good," then you find that these people trust us more than the other people, others, because they figure if something happens again, somebody have their back. We had to keep maintain that part, even in these days of you see what you make me do. No, I want to hear, "I have your back." Everybody has everybody's back in his tongue. And that's something that, if we lose that.
So on this show, we've spoken about that several times, about what, you mentioned about men being weak now. And we spoke about Caribbean men in particular, where is there still that brotherhood, where someone, for example, someone tells a story, they're more interested in, "I'm glad that didn't happen to me," or "I'm glad," or you want to go back and tell someone else, than being there for your brother and being your brother's keeper. And we've lost that. We've lost the essence of being men, so to speak. What in your estimation is a man?
A man takes care of his own, takes care of his friends, takes care of his what he feeds to the young children. When he makes a mistake, they could learn from even the mistake he made. So you could, don't make that mistake. You could pass that knowledge on to other people, other young men in society. Because a lot of them just looking for guidance, and it's got to a point where they're not the majority, but they could have been 1 out of 1,000. Now we say we have 50 out of 1,000, so we 49 people better. Let's aim for the 100 next time, and keep working on that. Not just for now, but for generations to come. I think that it's a long journey. It might take about 15, 20 years if you start now, and but you see the end results down the line.
Okay. What do you think causes the weakness in men?
I think unemployment, lack of jobs, and things like that. People get frustrated and they're angry, and then women always most progressive, more superior guys. So women kind of get in ahead, and there's this sense of my wife getting ahead. I catch in my tail here, and they don't see it as something. Well, let me do why she's doing that. I will do my part here, with the children or whatever. It's like it becomes an anger instead. Anger at society, anger at economy, anger at all different levels, and who they take it out on? The women and the children. Mm-hmm. And I think that we need to channel that energy, that negative energy, into let's make the best with what we have here, make things a little better, and take it from there. Because like I said, this is a difficult journey. You could have all the big symposiums and all these things, but at the end of the day, working every day in society just as a mentor, not everybody will hear you, but enough will hear that you know that they're listening. They're listening.
And then there's definitely a generation gap even sitting down here. Like Niall, in so many things, and to hear from you as well, what adversity was always there. People always had to overcome adversity, whether consciously or subconsciously. You must rise. If you don't rise, you fall, and if you fall, you're staying down, and then you die, basically. What would you say is transition from then to now? Would you say like the advent of social media? People, we keep saying men have become weaker, but what changed? What was that pivotal moment?
I don't know if it's a pivotal moment. I think we let things slide so long for such a long time that after a while we kind of realize, wait, no, it's there where we reach,
Is it the land of oil and music? That's one of your songs that gave us a false sense of security or comfort, a pillow.
Yeah, and arrogance too, because sometimes we kind of look at other people like, oh, you from Guyana or this or that. We have all the oil and things. See all that life changes now. You're getting the same kind of lyrics from the other side now. Yeah. So we have to realize we all we have is ourselves. Today you have, say a brother and say, look, hold that. I learned, one thing I've learned with this since this, being a man, since I have this Parkinson's diagnosis, there's a group of my friends, a very small type group, who will always look after me. You're right. So make sure you come and check. I see they stay in the house too long. Come out, do this every minute, And someone I was reading something 2 days ago, and they were talking about Parkinson's, and they said the best thing with Parkinson's is to have a good friends around you. 3 or 4 good friends, that is the best medicine, apart from the pills and this and that and the other. And that, so I would see that as a metaphor for Trinidad society. And it would be like, am I looking out for everybody? We have this situation here. We don't know how it's going to end. We know it's not going to end good. But it's what they do in the space. I remember one time the guy was talking on the BBC or something he had, and they say, first of all, we have to ask, how old are you? And he said, I began to die 71 years ago. That was his way of answering the question.
What he said?
I began to die 71 years ago. So he says, what I try to do inside that space was what is important.
So let me just understand, because what I'm taking from that is from the time you're born, you start to die.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's what he was saying. Yeah.
So almost like a negative outlook.
Outlook. But he wasn't actually, he wasn't something negative. He said, that's a sobering statement to make, because it says that we all here, and then we make a journey, and we all end here. You can't stop that, right? So if you start to see yourself as, I began to die 71 years ago. What have I done in that 71 years to fill that gap? Did I take it on and say, I don't want to dead, No, you accept the death and you put it aside one time. And you say, every day must be a stronger day for me, till I really can't go anymore. And the journey is at the end. But the journey has begun 71 years ago, That's what he was trying to say. And it was, at the end of the day, it didn't feel like, oh Lord, you don't find that negative. The guy was, the way he said it,
Well, as you say, it is sobering because it's the truth.
It is so, it started like a shock. It was like a shock entrance. And I think, one of the things that people get attracted to my songs for is because they it wasn't deliberate. It's just the way I see it. The opening lines always have to catch you. Can you hear a distant drum bouncing on the last of a melody? Tuesday was a mighty man, and to make matters worse, he was black. What did you say there? So I think in that same pattern, that guy was saying, I began to die 71 years ago. And kind of like throw everybody off a little bit, and then the conversation piece started.
And I'm listening to this, and I'm intrigued by what this gentleman said and what it means, and all the other meanings behind it. But as you stepped in and started to talk about your lyrics, I can't help but being more drawn into that because it's profound. There's so much in there that you didn't even realize, like you said at the time, the impact it would have, almost Bob Marley-esque, of the lyrics that he had then about those times. For me, that's you. Speaking about those moments, and it transcended Trinidad and Tobago, because you spoke about the West Indies, you spoke about Haiti, and whether it be serendipitous or not, things aligned at the time that made your music even more popular at that point. But my other question would really be, even this gentleman at 71 who, from the time you're born, you're dying. It's a reality, yeah? But you can look back, and one of the things I would say most people probably struggle with is you can look back and say, okay, I'm David Rudder. I have this. I've done this. It's very, very tangible. It's there. It's present. It's liked, loved, revered. Most people won't have that to hold on to. So what is a message that each individual can take away, that they all have a presence, they all have a purpose? Because they're not going to be a David Rudder behind. They're probably not going to be named.
Everybody's a David Rudder, It's just what you're David Rudder at. I just have a good way with words and so on, maybe because of my love for history, music, But Mr. Garbage Man or whoever, even that was the essence of the song, The Madman Ran. The maddest man in society, the lowest man, said no time to give up, no time to quit. Inside of his insanity, he's struggling to kind of give a message to society too, right? So if the lowest man could do it, the highest man could do it too, and all in between. It's a whole collective, we all have to do it. People come and say, like, I remember after the coup, some people came by my house and said they want to talk to me about writing a song to make the children of this country forget what happened in 1990. I said, wait, you want us to wipe out history because it's not unpleasant? I can't write a song like that. I can't do that. How are I doing that? I have no idea how to even go about that.
And how do you want to?
How do you want to? You have to let them know this is what happened. That's the power of history. This is what happened. If you don't want it to happen again, do the different thing that make things positive. Because if you don't do it, it's going to happen again. And we are a land of skirmishes. The Butler riots, the Hindu riots, Black Power rising, Abu Bakr. Every so often we have we erupt in these little and then the volcanoes lie down again. But it's still there, what we have to do is do work inside that space so that we don't have to start to die again. We start to live from that moment on so that when we die, we have what we look back and look and say, I was part of that, and it was good. I could die now, and you turn the whole thing that the guy said around now in a different way. So you win in a win-win situation. If you say I began to die so and so, or now I die. It's what's in between. What is in between is the real thing.
Right. Learning from your mistakes.
Yes.
I mean, and in terms of your age, if there's anything at all, is there anything you may have done differently in your life?
No. Because if I even if I do something that I know it's not good, I'll take that on. So much that I know that it's not going to happen again, you know. But no.
It's part of the scars. It's part of that defines you.
Yeah.
That even probably helped you in assisted you in the lyrics that you wrote,
Right.
or not being afraid.
Right. Yeah.
And giving out that message, because at the time, it may not be received in the way it was intended to be received, or persons may even stay away or distance themselves from that. May have been seen as rhetoric at that point, and then now it's okay because it's now where it's positioned. It's a safe space.
Yeah. The truth is a whole heap of scar tissue, you know.
Oof.
You know?
Say that again. The truth is a heap of scar tissue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that all has us in a pause.
Because
a moment.
Because all the experiences we gather during age is the truth.
Yeah.
Right? And this is something I've learned, that it have no harsh truth, you know. The truth is just the truth. What is harsh is a lie. And if we propagate lies, then we have problems in our lives versus acknowledging, facing, being accountable to whatever is the truth. So I like that. I really
We're
like
gonna use that as a quote under Manhood. A pile of scar tissue.
The truth is a pile of scar tissue.
But before we go, I'd love to ask about the future, right? Especially in the age of artificial intelligence that's happening now. My assumption is that you're going to still be writing. However, artificial intelligence is here where you may not be able to perform or sing, and AI could literally be you. Would you be open to that, having your voice be computer generated, even if it's singing your lyrics that you've written?
That's a good
Not
question.
sure. I still have a kind of admiration, but a little kind of doubt, a nagging doubt about technology in a way. So I don't think it can be stopped. I don't think it can be stopped, but whether I like it or not, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Maybe I might come to say, okay, that's what it is, you know.
But the comfort that you know it lives on,
Yeah.
it might be.
But why go to that technology when you have not human beings to do it?
It's still here.
It's still here, you know.
It's still there. We take in every morsel, every drop. We're taking it. So I would say, to just before we wrap, what would you say? I know this is always hard for someone, especially when every song would have had meaning. Every song would have been, whether it be upsetting the status quo, whether known or unknown. What would you say is the most impactful, rather than your favorite? What would you say is your most impactful song that meant the most to you, or was a catalyst to do something different? If you could indeed name one.
That's a tough one. Because that's how I approach all my songs, regardless of the subject matter, you know.
Which is the one in the 21 years, like you said, you became an overtime overnight artist, would you say is the song that really, when people at that point understood who David Rudder is, and you were accepting of that as in what you positioned yourself to be? Because people can have an impression of you, and that's not what you want people to know about you or view you as. But there might have been a song or a moment in time that now they're like, okay, now they see me.
I think those two songs are there in '86, The Hammer and Buy a Girl, because they were different. They were different to what was the normal society, and I think that's one of the reasons why I won by so many marks in that year, is because they had to give me full marks for originality, because they were complaining that what I'm doing was not calypso. So the fact that it's not calypso, it means that it's an original idea, and I think that even in a strange way, I'll give Buy a Girl the edge, because there was a communication of the language of the chorus of the song was a lot of scatting, and everyone could say whatever they wanted on it, and this strange song with this meeting this girl from Bahia, and all she's singing is this strange melody, and then to see the whole society, Ash Wednesday morning, that's all they hear, whole day, whole Carnival Monday, Carnival Tuesday, Ash Wednesday, I said, I knew this tune had a little jumbie in it, and the thing about it is that it was written for I wrote that for Crazy to sing,
Right.
So, and it didn't happen. So everything kind of fell in place, and I think when people meet me in the 40s and the 50s now, they say, when we hear that song, Mr. Rudder, I say, you jump your wall too. He says, how you know? Among people tell me that they jump their parents' wall and sneak out of the house and on the streets, prancing this thing, knowing that they get licks when they come back.
Guilty.
So
I know probably the audience that are going to be looking on at this point is probably screaming, because I know we are sitting around here hoping that you, at some point when you're talking about the song, you give us a little something. I don't know where you're positioned to do that, but even in the song with Bahia Girl, there's the lyrics that there's a particular lyric that from the Brazil part of it that I don't know if I quite say it right, and I don't even want to say it because I probably my interpretation of
Now is the time to say
the
it.
beat. No, I'm not even gonna
Now's the
at this
time.
point. But how does one, like, take example, Marshall has his hoy, and different people have their, when you're writing that song and you're putting lyrics to a beat almost.
yeah.
Because it's not a word. It's you're saying certain syllables to connect to a beat.
Yeah.
Right? Like Bahia Girl. What is the intention? I'm trying not to sing it, which is the
Do it.
point.
I
I'm
don't
trying
know
to
why.
make.
There's a space
What-
to do it.
Could we get a little something is what I'm asking.
Just saying-
Bottom line.
It's music is a great communicator. You don't have to be able to talk French or Spanish or whatever. You have a chant, and everything is connected to that chant. People kind of like almost something that they can't even understand where history is. Why it attracts me so. That's how people say this chant. So all it was a simple pim pilim pim pe bidi bam bam. Pim pilim pim pele, pim pilim pim pele, pim pilim pim pe bidi bam bam. Right? So people say anything.
sang that too.
Everybody will say whatever they sing, but at the end of the day, the melody connects them on all different levels, and that's why the song stays eternal.
I feel that.
I feel
For
that. So
real.
if you could
Feel
just tell me that one more time so I sing it right from now on. Pimpy. What is it?
Pimpi lim pimpe,
Pimpy lim pimpy.
With a P.
bidi bam bam.
Pidi bam bam.
BD, like the letter B,
Right.
the letter D,
D.
BD,
P D.
bam bam.
Bam bam. Okay.
PD Bam, I'm
I-
not, no, no.
I'm feeling so
People say
almost
anything about it.
borderline perverted by the fact that what I used to think it meant or said. But we're here to learn. We're here
That's
to
all
learn,
we're here.
and the greatest adversity that we could have is when we know better, we do better. I know the
The actual lyrics.
actual lyrics. I shall no longer ever sing my rendition of it.
Nah, but as Mr. Reda was saying, you know, people sing whatever they want, right?
Yeah.
And people have different interpretations. So you don't have to sing exactly. I mean, everybody just sing. I didn't know it was pimpy limpy. I didn't know it was a P. I thought it was a B first,
Correct.
right? But you know, still the essence. The essence of what, as he was saying, you're communicating not only in English, French, or Spanish or language, but you're communicating in a melody. And I think what he's saying there is a beautiful thing, because even, and we spoke about this before here on the show, even as men, sometimes if we try to communicate exactly like everybody think we should, then we run into problems versus giving yourself the courage and having the courage to express yourself however you want to. And that's one thing I'm taking from what you said during the show in terms of your age. Your music was you. So you are a lover of history.
Right.
So therefore it was reflected in your music. Right? And say even though it was serendipitous, you start with something that different. You start with something that caught somebody. You wasn't trying to be anybody else. You wasn't trying to please anybody. Sometimes you didn't even know how people would react to it. But you express yourself. So that's what I taken from the show today. One, age is a collection of experiences. It don't really matter what age you are. Everybody here have a lot of experiences, and the men that looking on you all have a lot of experiences. And it's not to compare, but to use it and to learn from every adversity as you move forward.
Beautiful. For those of you who were listening at home, I'm usually not this quiet. And the reason is because I am in shell shock sitting down next to this legend, right? My main takeaway is that what was mentioned was a small key could open very large doors. Like, I love that. And as a creative myself, not to hold a candle to this gentleman beside me, but what I saw in how he was describing the world was that his pattern recognition is sublime. And I love the fact that I could see now how the stories that you created is because you get to see the world and you see all the different, you see things moving around. Now, I'm not too sure if that happened, but that's just what I am taking away from it. And as a creative, I certainly appreciate that because I feel like I have some sort of pattern recognition as well. So for the gentlemen out there, adversity, small keys could open large doors. Just keep that in mind. And I'll leave that like that. Thank you for coming here.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Your closing thoughts to the nation. The experience on manhood, your thoughts in any way.
The journey is always tough. But once we have an aim, we're halfway there already.
Taking that.
You're taking that. Anna taking the scar tissue. So I start as you aim to finish. And as we started, I started with the quote, which I probably will forget parts of it now, but forgive me, audience, and to those that listen, I'm not Nelson Mandela, but the quote is simply, the greatest glory is not in never falling, but in rising every time you fall. That's Nelson Mandela, and you said that was pretty profound for you, having used a quote like that. There's another quote I want to share. This one, I have to pull the phone out. And that simply is, it's your reaction to adversity, not adversity itself, that determines how your life story will develop. And adversity being the greatest teacher. This in itself, this manhood, and I know we always say it's been a big one, but we have a legend on the show.
Legend.
We have a legend on the show in manhood today, and age and adversity. Thank you so much for the wisdom shared today. Thank you for the music that you brought to so many others. Thank you for clarifying for me the chant, so I will no longer do your song any sort of injustice. And I would love if you can lead us off as we close the show in that chant one more time in some sort of a cappella that we could probably beat to.
You ready?
Ready?
I came.
Bidi bam bam, bading bam, pimperem pempe bidi bam bam, bam pempe, pimperem pempere, pimperem pempere, pimperem pempe bidi bam bam, parara pa para pa.
Yes, voice of the miserable one here, Jazzy Blaze, representing from Manhood. And this is a letter to Mama. Cheese. Right now me under pressure, but one day Jah go make it better. Yeah. Mama teach me to be a go-getter, get up every day and face the weather. Yeah. So to you me write this letter, to ease my mind and refrain from getting bitter. Experience are the greatest teacher, and Mama, you coming after well, yeah. Mama, don't worry no more. Mama, don't worry no more. No matter how hard the struggle I go get me, why you know say that your baby I go make it for sure, yeah. Mama, don't worry no more. Mama, don't worry no more. No matter how hard this struggle I go get me, why you know say that your baby I go make it for sure. Listen, lately, trying to keep myself from acting hasty. A lot of forces out here, them against me. Some of them my friend, some of them even family. What on me enemy, but Mama me done picture you telling me. Don't stoop to the level, just keep it steady. But sometimes the fool them a test me so much, me get charged up like battery ever ready. So Mama just keep on praying for me. Your prayers never fail, them a work for me. The kind of love that you share keep the hurt from me. Ain't there a treasure can compare your word to me? That's why I sing. Mama, don't worry no more. Mama, don't worry no more. No matter how hard this struggle I go get me, why you know say that your baby I go make it for sure. Oh yeah. Mama, don't worry no more. Mama, don't worry no more. No matter how hard this struggle I go get me, why you know Jazzy I go make it for sure. Sometimes it get even more difficult the more I pray. Get booked for shows and not get no pay. Give DJs me music, now get no play. No matter the lyrics, the quality and melody. Ask myself, what me doing wrong? So me say a word of praise before me record every song. Jah know how much me want make it, and it seem like my life and talent them want take it. But Mama, I'm a warrior. Me use your teachings and broke down every barrier. My love for you wide like the Gulf of Paria. Me appreciate the little phone calls you give once in a while, and they make me smile. And in times when my pocket empty, you make it your duty if you come check me and put some 100 in my clothes. Mama, when we make it, your bank account all and your purse can close. Pray that Jah gives you long life and always keep you safe in the days, in the dark nights. Everything will be alright, Mama. Sing that chorus one more time. Oh no, no, no. Mama, don't worry no more. Mama, don't worry no more. No matter how hard this struggle I go get me, why you know, yeah, baby, I go make it for sure. Whoa, 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 yeah. Mama, don't worry no more. Mama, don't worry no more. No matter how hard this struggle I go get me, why you know, yeah, baby, I go make it for sure. Whoa, oh, yeah. Yes, I. Mama, me love you, you know. To my heart and soul. Cheers.
Manhood, brought you in part by Reboot, Superfarm and Solomon's Bespoke.